Hello my creative friends, welcome to Rain Francis Art. My name is Rain. I'm out here this morning with a big bag full of bread crusts that were left over from the pinwheel sandwiches that I made the other day. I feed the birds and the chipmunks every morning, and there is a chipmunk over there. He's chirping at me because I think he's waiting for his breakfast. And it just started to rain. It's so lovely out here. I love my land. I really love my land, and I'm so glad that I can share this with you. I'm also sharing a video of me drawing a crocodile in ink and graphite. I wanted to do something kind of fun, just a little doodle that had a lot of rough texture, because the theme of this week's Art Date with Rain is rough textures. If you want to join in on the art date, just go to rainfrancisart.com. I have a themed weekly art date every Thursday, and I would love to see your creations. I'm coming! I hope that you enjoy this video, and if you do, please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. I love to read them and I love to reply to them. I better get going. So without further ado, here is the video. Please enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, let's begin. I'm just taking my 0.8 Fineliner ink pen, and I'm outlining my entire crocodile. If you would like to follow along, as usual, I have my stencil linked below in the description. As well as a list of the supplies that I use, or that I am using right now. I decided to do a crocodile this week because the theme for my art date was rough textures, and I believe a crocodile has a pretty rough texture. I'm just doing this kind of quickly, a little what I call a doodle. It's not a portrait, so I don't have to put as much detail into it as I would a portrait. I was actually drawing the Crocodile Hunter the other day. And something happened with one of the pets. I had to stop what I was doing, and I completely lost my momentum. And I couldn't finish it. That happens to me when I get interrupted, you know? Well, if I get interrupted a little bit, it's not a big deal, because the pets will interrupt me a lot, but something happened and I had to stop completely and take care of them, so couldn't get it back. So instead, I'm doing a crocodile. All right, so what I'm doing is I just have a reference photo, and I think that, you know, you could find a reference photo of a crocodile online. I forgot my wax paper, so that's why my voice sounded so far away. What I'm doing here is I'm looking at the crocodile, and I'm seeing what kind of texture is on this crocodile. And I'm trying to kind of mimic it a little bit. Like I said, it's really, for me, this is just for fun. I'm not going for realism. I just want it to look cool. I want a look of rough texture. I really loved watching the Crocodile Hunter. Steve Irwin, I mean, I was really upset when he died. And, you know, because you could just put his show on and just feel happy. He was so fun to watch, and I loved hearing him talk as well. He had such enthusiasm for all of his critters, and especially the crocodiles. I was reading that, I'm just putting a line in here so I don't mindlessly do what I don't want to do, which is put this texture in over here because that's a different kind of texture. Yes, anyway. Rain gets distracted easily. Yeah, I loved watching his show. I probably watched every single one of them. I didn't watch them when they came out because they were on a cable show, and I didn't have cable back then. I mean, I don't have a television now. I haven't had one for 10 years, but I can watch things on the internet now. And I finally got, I think it was Animal Planet that he was on, or National Geographic, one of those two. And I remember seeing his show for the first time, and I fell in love. Terry was a lucky lady. Funny, I read that they filmed, I think it was the first episode of the Crocodile Hunter on their honeymoon. And he named his daughter after his favorite saltwater crocodile, Bindi. I love that his son Robert is following in his dad's footsteps. I love that. They still own the Australia Zoo. I was actually thinking of taking a trip to Australia because I wanted to go to the Australia Zoo. I wanted to meet him in person, or maybe not meet him, but see him in person, because he was there. And he did live shows all the time of him feeding the crocs. And I thought, how fun would that be if I saw Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, in person? That would have really been something. I had started to plan that all in 2003, and then he passed away, so I never got to Australia because that was the reason why I wanted to go. All right. Just playing with shapes and textures here. Like I said, this is just a doodle. Okay, I want to put a little bit of darkness along the gum line or tooth line to emphasize all the teeth. Up here too. Gotta put the glasses on for this. All right, so I'm going to do that on the top as well. Have you ever seen a crocodile or an alligator? I know that I've heard that there are a lot of alligators in Florida, and we don't have any of that here. Okay, now for under his jaw, I'm just going to put a few lines like this. Just a few scratches, and some odd kind of shapes. Because he does have that reptilian, I'm assuming it's a he, he does have that reptilian look, but it's not squares like this. It's sort of odd kind of shapes. The biggest reptile I ever saw was, what was that called? A Komodo dragon. And that was when I was still living in Montreal, Quebec, where I spent most of my life before I moved to New Brunswick here in rural New Brunswick that I absolutely adore. I was meant to live in the Maritimes. But in Montreal, I went to a place called the Biodome, and I saw a Komodo dragon there, and those things are scary and they're deadly. All right, and under here I'm going to put all black. There was an episode of the Crocodile Hunter when Steve Irwin chased. He always chases these dangerous things. He chased a Komodo dragon, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it bit his boot. I may be mistaken. I could be thinking of an episode where he chased a deadly snake and it attacked him. But I remember when he was looking for the Komodo dragon, he was, let me just do this so I don't, okay, I just don't want to, like I said, mindlessly do things while I'm chatting. I remember that episode when he was looking for the dragon, and he saw some droppings, and he was always so funny the way he spoke. He went, "Poo! Dragon poo! Crikey!" He made me laugh. He was the one, he would just jump into rivers and lakes to just follow animals, just fully clothed in his boots, didn't care. He was so passionate about conservation and animal rights. I thought he was just wonderful. Okay, so here he's got, up here, he's got a few of this going on. These odd kind of shaped scales. And then here he's got more round, square, very geometrical shaped scales. So I'm going to fill in that entire area with these geometrical shapes here. Kind of like you're drawing a brick wall a little bit. I just felt like doodling today. Today is Sunday as I draw this, and it is so quiet outside. Yesterday there were so many people around. The quad people came up from the cities. I call them the quad people. And I was trying to film a few videos outside for my other channel, Spiritual Rain, and I had to do so many takes because these very loud trucks, pickup trucks and quads kept driving by, and not on my road, on the road that crosses mine. That is, I mean, it's not far away, but it's far enough away, but I could hear them as if they were right next to me. That's how quiet it is in this area. and people decided to all come up and mow their lawns. So it was quite busy in my little rural area yesterday. I'm going to just darken this to not as thick as here, but just to give it there. Okay, maybe I'll do the same around the whole snout and around his nose or his nostrils. So yeah, it's a beautiful hot day today. As I don't know when this video is going to be posted, but as I draw this, it's a hot August day, and I didn't feel like doing a really long tutorial today because I have some lights here, and they get a little hot. I mean, they are LEDs, but I guess it's not the lights that make things hot. It's because I have to close my curtains or else there's a glare. And I don't want to have my fan going, otherwise the sound won't be nice. I'll just make his eye or her eye a little more dark so that it stands out a little better. Okay. I think that looks kind of cool, rough textures. So I've got my 6B, my darkest graphite pencil. Then I'm going to go over the top of his snout. And I'm just drawing very lightly in little circles and ovals to make for easier blending. His entire back eye there, I'm putting dark. Okay, actually, I just noticed something. This area right here. Just taking a look at the reference. This area all here is very dark. That's the inside of his cheek, or where his mouth, you know, where he has the line for the rest of his jaw, upper jaw. And he's got another one down here that I'm going to make a little more pronounced as well. And they do kind of join up here, like that. I think that looks a lot better. I'm going to put a little more shading here. Separate the head from the neck, and go back to my 6B. What else? Just around the top of his jaw, it's a little darker. I don't want to get the teeth. I know I could erase, but I don't want to erase every single tooth. This is his tongue that is quite dark. As I blend this, I may end up having to come back and erase the teeth. So I'm just gonna have fun here. All right, and it's a little dark here and on the bottom of his jaw as well. Just under here it's darker. And at the beginning of the crease here. All right, now I'm going to take my 2B and fill in the other areas. I'm applying it super light. Okay. And I kind of want to do something. Let me see. First of all, I'll take my HB and I'll apply it to his neck. I may do a little texture, a little more texture in his neck. And what I want to do is I want to make him stand out. So I've got my HB and I'm going to actually shade in the entire background. And I'm applying very, very light ovals. And I said I didn't want to shade in the teeth, but got a little hair debris. I didn't want to shade in the teeth because I thought it would be a little too much pain in the butt to erase them all, but I think it'll be more of a pain in the butt to go through them. You know, going a little here, a little here. Before I apply my blender, I just want to see something here. I want to go in and just put in some scratch marks on these scales here. I'm just doing it real light, just for a different texture. Okay. So I'm going to take my Sofft blender. I call it Sofft because that's the name of it. I actually think that I'm going to hold my page because I am using a small canvas today. I think that Sofft changed the name, so if you're looking for it, I really don't know. I bought these so long ago. I don't know what the name of the new one is, but if you're looking, you can look for Sofft foam tip blenders or just foam tip blenders. They're made for pastels, actually, pan pastels, but they work fabulously for graphite. Okay, now I'm just going to go in and I'll start with the areas where I applied the 2B, just to keep that value. And then I'll just do the areas where I have the 6B. And I'll erase what I've done here to the nostrils as well. I wonder what made me think that I could get away with not getting any graphite on the teeth or the nostrils. Or the eye, for that matter. Great, his tongue is very dark. I have some graphite on here, so I'm just going to go over this area. There, just fill that in so it's not really white. All right. Before I start erasing, I'm going to take my 6B, again, my darkest, and just go over some areas again that I want a little darker. I'm applying slightly harder now under here as well. I want it quite dark. Okay. His eye. I'm going to put the lid dark. And I'm going to take, let's see, my 2B and just go under his eye. And this area too. I think I'm going to apply 2B to this area. It looks funny there if it's too light. Alright. Just go and fill in the shading. Now I'm just going over the whole thing to make sure that it's nicely shaded and I don't see any pencil marks. And when you go over the whole thing like this at the end, you blend the light and the dark together so that it's not so stark. All right, now I shall take my little Tombo mono eraser. It's a tiny little tip, and see, it's retractable. I call it mechanical. And I'm just going to go in and erase the nostrils and all the teeth. And you see, this is why I put in the HB in the background, so that the teeth would look much whiter and much more menacing. Whenever I think of crocodiles, I think of those shoes, you know, the Crocs. I used to have a pair. I liked them. I used to use them in my garden. They were so comfortable. People make fun of them. I should get another pair. Another famous crocodile was in the 80s. If you were a child of the 80s, or if you were into fashion in the 80s, you'll remember the preppy look, the Lacoste shirts with the alligator logo. They were very popular for the preppies, who used to put their collars up. Some funny styles from that era. All right. Do I need to do, actually, you know what? I am going to erase a few of these graphite marks where I came out with the pencil. For example, like I had the tooth like this, but I didn't really fill it in. I didn't go over the outline with the ink pen completely, so some of those lines are showing and I don't want them to show. So I am just going to involve more erasing, but I'm going to go in with my HB again, and I'm just going to go over the entire area where the teeth are. And I'm going to blend that. And I'm going to have to go in and erase all the teeth again. Why didn't I think of that before? Okay. Let me just clean that off a little bit. Actually, I need this. I hope my head's not in the camera. I'm really bending over to look at what I'm doing here. Those are the upper. So many teeth. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Let me just take a look to see if I need to put in any highlights, which I think I do. I have another mechanical eraser. It is a Factus BM2. I don't know where I got it. It's just, I bought it because it has a larger eraser on it. I'm just kind of putting in a little highlight around here. And just under his eye a little, and above his jaw. There's a little highlight here. A little bit on the tongue right here. And on the inside of his mouth. Just below here, there are a few lines. And then a highlight all the way across here. Let me go and blend that a little so it's not such an obvious eraser line. I will try not to get the teeth because I don't want to erase again. Okay, maybe a little there. So there's my crocodile. I hope you enjoyed this little doodle tutorial. I enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and please leave me a comment. I love reading them, and I love replying to them. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate all of your support. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.